Continuing the rating climb with the intermediate chess.com bots. Here we go. Amir is 1,000. He's playing the French defense, so we're going to go ahead and get 2 pawns in the center. And probably there's 2 kind of main ways you can play this. You can defend your pawn with a knight move, or you can push forward. Those are most of the time the good ones. We'll go ahead and push forward. I don't really like playing these kind of positions, but I'll do my best. We're going to defend it with the pawn and get this nice pawn chain. We're going to defend it again. And we'll see how much theory. Yeah, that's one of the main moves. And I believe I can play bishop d3 or bishop d2 and just castle. Bishop d3 a lot of times gets interesting because you'll notice it blocks the defense of that pawn, whereas bishop e2 doesn't do that. So you know what? Maybe in this case, we'll just keep it like this so that the pawn stays defending, so that the queen stays defending the pawn, I should say. All right, let's go ahead and castle. He does take me, which actually makes my life easy, right? Because now I have a nice square for my knight to hop to. So I'm pretty happy with that. And ooh, it just goes back. So kind of wasting some moves here, which is good for us. So let's just, there's not really much happening in the position. So I'm just going to develop the knight. And I've never seen a bot 1,000 do that. Okay, so I'm thinking about knight to b5. Now, why am I thinking about knight to b5? Well, because this square on d6, that would be checkmate. The issue is it's pretty easy threat for black to deal with. All they have to do is move this knight right here or here, unleashes the bishop, and then I'm not probably going to go there. My knight's just kind of sitting over there. So this is an example of, this would be playing hope chess, right? Well, I hope he doesn't see it. I hope he makes a bad move and I'll just checkmate, right? You don't want to play chess that way if you're trying to improve and get better, because eventually you're going to play against good players and they're going to see what you're doing, and then you just made a move that doesn't really help you, right? So instead, I'm going to play bishop g5, a developing move, which also kind of threatens the same thing because I had the pin, and he does deal with that so that he can, again, move his knight. All right. So maybe rook c1. I'm just trying to think of like which pieces need to get into the game, and I think the rook over here probably could go in the open file. So let's do that. Plays h5. Okay. I'm not really concerned with that. In fact, I like that because it can no longer chase my bishop away. So I'm okay with that. Rook e1, you know, it looks like it doesn't do anything, but maybe in the future, if this ever happens and we trade, the rook actually could become involved. So I think rook e1 is okay. Let's see. I'm just kind of scanning. Are there any other moves? You know, I'm just double checking. Like, does it make sense to go here now? But still don't really think it's that great. So we'll go with rook e1. G6. Okay, now this move, I feel like creates a significant weakness on f6. And this is something when the pawns move forward, you always want to ask yourself, okay, which squares did they leave behind that are no longer controlled? So bishop f6 seems like a great little outpost for my bishop. I also would love to get a knight there, but I can't really do that easily, right? I can't go here unless I'm going to sacrifice my knight, which probably isn't going to happen. I'd have to get my knight here. Yeah, it's not really possible. So we'll go ahead, put the bishop in there. And notice it opens up this square for my knight too. So, you know, when you're playing in a locked up position like this, you really have to make the most of these holes that open up as the game goes on, right? So that's what I'm thinking. Just jump my knight in there. Again, still considering this, but I still feel like black could very easily deal with that. So again, it just doesn't really do anything. Knight g5, what it does is it blockades everything and starts to put pressure. Oh, and he just blunders the piece. Okay. Well, I was going to say it starts to put pressure on these things, and eventually I would maybe build up for a sacrifice. So I don't know if that was going to be bishop here, queen here to line up, and at some point I was going to think about maybe sacrificing to get at black's king. In this case, of course, I'm going to take the free piece. Okay, b5, interesting move. So what am I thinking about now? Well, are there any obvious targets? Not really. I am up a piece, so I could trade. The issue with that is my bishop looks pretty powerful, right? And black's bishop looks terrible. So I don't really want to activate their bishop for them just to trade. Even though trading is good when you're ahead, it's not that good. This pawn, maybe we could attack. So right now it's defended 2 times, but I could easily add another attacker here with the queen. I do have to be careful walking into a discovered attack. So is that really something that I want to do? I don't know. Where would the knight move is one question. Even here, it's pretty annoying actually. So maybe I don't want to do that. Okay. So what else do we play? I don't actually know. Maybe he wants to push here. I'll play a3 just to stop that because I don't really see what else to do at the moment. So I'm going to just wait and see what black's going to do. Okay, he defends that. And, interesting position. Maybe bishop f3 is a very slight improvement in my position. Let me just do that. Maybe at one point in the future, I'll sack here. Okay, there. Finally, he walks into something. And this is a good lesson, right? Because I think a lot of players in a position like this, they would try to like force something to happen, right? And sometimes you just can't. And you just need to wait. And you wait for the moment like this where your opponent gives you something that you can take advantage of. And that's what we see here. Now he walks into my rook. So now you guys could probably see, right? These moves are jumping out at me because I'm going to move the knight and unleash the rook. And so the question is, which way do I want to do it? This one looks actually really good because then I can go to d6. This one is not bad either because I'll be able to just trade a bunch of stuff. But this looks more powerful to me because of this threat, which I think is a bigger deal. So we're going to take this. Doesn't see the queen, so we'll just grab the queen. Okay, and again, I'm ahead material, so I am considering trading. But again, I don't really want to activate the bishop, so I'm going to hold off on that one. What else can we do? I'd like to maybe trade a rook, but I can't go there at the moment. Maybe I don't want to get back rank checkmated, so maybe I could play a move like this to just fix that while I kind of wait to see what black is going to do. And yeah, well, let's do that. I'll go ahead and play h4 to add a defender here. And he does go for that. You know, I might lose a pawn, but I don't really care. I'm thinking now that the knight has moved about the king, and I'm seeing queen here. And why am I looking at this? Well, because I want to come here, and that's just checkmate. So I was looking for, like, how can I make a threat? That's what I saw. Doesn't look like it's super easy for black to deal with that. You can't defend with the rook. Guess he probably has to block. But other than that, I don't really see a whole lot of options. So that looks like a good move. Let's go ahead. Threaten there. I'm expecting bishop d7, which we see. Okay. And now, I think I mentioned it earlier, the possibility of sacrificing. Now it looks like it might be the right moment because it's going to force the pawn to recapture. I could throw this forward and totally bust open black's king. This can't move because I still have checkmate because my rook would be involved. The pawn would have to take, and then I could probably take and take. And yeah, it looks like I'm going to be able to get checkmate at that point. So let's go ahead. Let me just verify that there's no like tricks that black has. I don't believe so. And so here we go. And wow, it's a weird move. I'll just take it, I guess. And yeah, okay. They could have still had the bishop there, but whatever. And this is what I was going to do anyway. Push forward, and we're coming for the king. Here we go. This is what I was saying. The rook's coming in, and black's in trouble. Black is in trouble. Okay, so where is the checkmate? Let's see. I see this. The knight could take. The queen could come over. The king would move. Don't think that's going to do it. I could go check here. King might come up. We could get a 4. This might be the best move here. Or let's see. Feels like there should be something better. Just don't see it. Let's make sure I'm not getting checkmated. I have a place for my king, so I don't have to panic with that. Maybe I'll just go here to attack the rook, and we have this threat. So I get, okay, he's going to go for the check, so we'll go here. Now we have checkmate right here. He stops that, but he gives up the rook. All right, so we'll take that. Okay, and again, I'm looking for checkmate. I think this is it. All right, good game to Amir. And that was a good example of how sometimes you have to be patient, right? Like right around this moment in the game, you know, we didn't have anything immediately that we could do. So I just was being patient, essentially, and just trying to make small moves that improve my position. Of course, it helps when they just blunder the piece. But even here, same thing. I don't see anything immediately. That's okay. Just play some good moves. Don't do anything crazy, right? Throw away your advantage. And eventually, something's going to happen, right? Unless you're playing a GM or Stockfish, right? All right, let's go to the next spot. Maxim. All right, here we go. Play e4. Another French. Okay, interesting. So let's play it a different way this time. Instead of pushing, let's play knight c3. And we'll just recapture with our knight like this. All right. All right, so there's a couple ways you can play this. One of them is bishop g5. We just pin that guy. And I was expecting bishop e7. That's a weird move because you lose castling rights. And I don't really want to take this and just open up the rook. He already lost his castling right, so I don't have to worry about the king going there. So I think I'm just going to leave the pin and develop a piece. Let me... Bishop d3 kind of sets a trap. This pawn is actually not free for the taking, so we'll go bishop d3, set a little trap there. Ooh, and he falls right into it. If you guys would like to pause, what's the move here for us? What's the move? Get a chance to look at that. There's a discovered attack on the queen, which means if we can find a nice place to move this bishop, we can actually win the queen. And we have bishop to b5, check. And if you thought that knight c6 would defend the queen, it doesn't, because the knight's pinned. We could still just take the queen, right? And the knight's unable to move. So yeah, he has to do this, and we get the queen. So little trap there that paid off for us. Okay, and again, I'm ahead. Now maybe I will just go ahead and trade some stuff off. Let me... So here, if I take and the pawn captures, I have to move my bishop, and then the rook can come down. So maybe I don't want to allow that, so I'll just take with the bishop. And that way, the pawn captures, I have time to deal with this threat. So how do we want to deal with that? Let's play... I'm thinking queen f3. And remember, whenever you can accomplish multiple things at the same time, that's usually a good move. So what are the multiple things that I'm accomplishing? Well, I'm defending. I'm creating an attack here on f6. And I'm getting ready to castle this way and get my king to safety and activate the rook. So seems like a pretty nice move. Let's go ahead and play queen f3. Yeah, f5 is a good move, I think. Let's see. We have to move our knight. Then we do have to deal with knight to e5. So it's a little bit annoying, but I think we're going to be okay. I'm thinking knight to g3 because then I shut down the rook and I don't have to worry about losing a pawn when my queen moves later after the knight. Okay, so try to think ahead a little bit. Like, ask yourself the question, like, what's my opponent most likely to do? And make sure you have a good response to that. So let's go knight g3. He doesn't do that. He plays bishop here instead. Okay, I don't think that changes my plan. I think I still want to castle, get my king to safety, and immediately activate the rook. A lot of times when the d file is open, if I have the option to castle queenside, I'm going to try to do that just because it's the fastest way to get the rook there, right? When you castle kingside, you have to spend an extra move to move the rook somewhere. This way, it just ends up there immediately. Okay, so let's scan, first of all, for like some weaknesses that we can take advantage of. I don't see anything there. Everything looks defended. We could sacrifice here, but nah, I don't really need to do that. So probably it comes down to these guys. These pieces are just sitting here not doing anything. Let's get them into the game. This looks like a perfectly playable move. I'm going to go with this one instead because I'm keeping an eye on where the king is. Of course, I can't go there right now, but you know, at some point in the future, I'm hoping that I can. Okay, I think we get this rook next, and just gradually getting all the pieces onto better and better squares. Okay, knight h5 is interesting. Gain a tempo. Ah, here we go. I didn't see that initially, but now as I keep scanning. And you notice how by activating those pieces, more tactical opportunities pop up. See, what a lot of people do is they start looking for tactics before all their pieces are mobilized, and they're just not going to exist the same way that they do when you have everybody on a good square, right? And that's what we see here. Nice little fork because the pawn can't capture because of my rook. Okay, and then we can snag the rook. Okay, wow. That's not defended. So I'm probably going to take it. I am just going to check. Do I have like a checkmate or something instead? But no, then he would take my knight. And so, yeah, we'll go ahead. Take the free piece. And okie dokie. That looks like a free pawn. Do we have anything better? Ooh, here's a cool move. I can actually sack my queen. And then the rook can come down. Yeah, that's a fun one. Let's see if we can pull that one off. Come on. Come on. All right, that would have been a fun way to end the game. We could also go here, taking advantage of the pin, right? And then we can relocate the queen around this way. That looks pretty good. We can also, oh, we just take with the knight. That's probably even better. Stops the king from escaping. Walks it into the discovered check. There might be checkmate very soon. Let's see if we can find one. We could go here. We can just take this guy. We can go here. Ooh, that's good too. Yeah, I guess I'm going to just take the pawn. Just want to get the rook, involved. Okay. And then, yeah, this is checkmate. There's mate in 2 right there. 1, 2. Okay. Good game. Let's move on. I got white again. Oh, we're playing against Hans. All right. Good luck, Hans. Here we go. Sicilian. Okay, I'm going to play knight to f3. Wow. Wow. All right. Well, we're going to take the free pawn. We're going to take it. What is Hans doing? Let's castle. Get the king out of the center. You know what? In hindsight, maybe I could have considered this move, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Because after the king takes knight e5, yeah, I think I missed an opportunity there. Knight e5, the king couldn't go back because we just get checkmate, which means the king would have to run out. Yeah, so totally missed an opportunity there, moving a little too quickly. And now it doesn't work anymore because the knight stops d5. So that's unfortunate. I wish I could go back and slow down. So it pays, you know, if your opponent's making these really weird moves, like maybe slow down and see if you do have an opportunity. And I was just, yeah, I wasn't thinking clearly there. All right, we're going to take the other pawn. Hans seems to have no concept of valuing his pawns. Again, now it's just not the same, right? It's just not the same because the knight's going to just kind of mess up my follow-up attack, which is unfortunate. But that's what it is. Let's just go ahead and develop. And, oh, okay. Well, guess what? Guess what? Now I can do it. Now I can do it because I have the follow-up. So here we go. We did get a second opportunity, and we won't miss this one. Knight to e5 check. And the king can't go back because of the checkmate here. Yes, he has to come up. And there's got to be a checkmate. It's just a question of where and how. So I'm going to start with the checks and just go till I find it. Knight to d5. You can't go there. You can't go there. You can't go there. You have to go to e6. And then queen to g4. Check. You have to go over here to d6. It kind of looks like the king is maybe escaping. I do have a fork with my knight, which is going to win the queen, which is great. King's going to go here. We take the queen with check. I mean, that looks pretty amazing. King's going to run. Or we just go queen f3 right away. If the king goes there, we have a check. King goes there. We could go knight. No, we can't go knight to b5. Yeah, so I don't go knight to c4, but then the king escapes. We go knight here. Yeah. Okay. So I think the first line that I looked at looks a little bit better. And so we'll go with knight to d5. And maybe there's another one that I missed, but this one I remember I won the queen with a check, which was good enough for me. All right, so queen g4, I believe, is what I calculated. I'm going to just take a moment to check again. Yeah, I don't think anything else needs to be played, so we'll go queen g4 check. This is really rather funny. All right, and I was thinking here, but now I'm actually thinking, what about here? So if we go check, the king has to go here. Is there a checkmate in that position? 1, 2, 1. Wow, I guess not. It's amazing. It just looks like there should be a checkmate. Maybe we'll check it after the game. I might be missing something. But I do see the fork, and I do see that I can take it with check, which is good enough for me. And now we can keep looking. There might be something now. Like a4 seems to be a good try. Queen e2, because I want the queen because it's so powerful. Yes, so maybe that's the way. Let's do that. And the knights are actually preventing the king from retreating, and the queen, you know, so he had to run forward. And so, yeah, definitely this is going to lead to checkmate. It has to. b3 and a4 should do it. Or actually, bishop here, maybe? Yeah. Ooh, knight here? Is that a cooler one? Really depends on what you want to do. I'm going to go with the knight one here. All right. Wow, that king went all over the board. So let's just check the game review. I'm just curious if I actually missed a checkmate earlier because maybe I did. 84. Okay, let's see. So yeah, right here, if I was paying attention, which of course Stockfish is, bishop takes f7, totally winning. Yep. And then you jump in, and the king has to come up, and then you play d4. And I mean, look at this. This is great. This is absolutely great. But I missed it until later on. Okay, but I did see it here. Yeah, there's checkmate right here. Queen to h5 was the move. Ah, see, I was thinking only of checks, and I didn't consider that. Actually, queen f3 also works. No, queen f3 also works. So what was the move that I missed? Ah, if you guys would like to pause from here, there's mate and 4, actually. Mate and 4, and I did not see it. And, okay, I'm not going to take too much. Mate and 4, what should I play? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the reason that I missed this move, and the reason why it's a difficult one to find is because it's not a check. And that's kind of when you really take your tactics to the next level, right? When you first start out, you're always looking for checks, you're looking for captures. And what the really strong grandmasters do is they look for all moves, even if they're not check. And that's what we see here. The move is knight to f7, which leads to checkmate. And part of the reason was, remember the king was kind of escaping, and then we had to like deal with these other escape routes. Well, when we played knight f7, we stopped that. And we stopped this, and we stopped. The king can't move at all, right? We're literally threatening to just checkmate with the pawn right away. So that is why this is such a powerful move. So black has to play knight to f6 to stop the d5 pawn checkmate. Then we grab here. King goes here. And now it's mate in 2, if you would like to pause. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, this is interesting too. The knight is controlling these squares. The pawns are controlling all the front squares. So we have to figure out how do we control these two. And unfortunately, knight to b5 doesn't work because of the bishop, so you have to use the queen, and you could do it either way. And it's interesting because there's going to be one pawn move, but then you take with the queen to deliver the checkmate. You did have to use the queen because if you use the bishop, then there's no checkmate because the king actually can escape here. You needed the queen. So interesting. Not that easy. Okay, it was not that easy, especially from this position to see that one. Now, of course, if you're thinking about forks, maybe you would have just saw it from that perspective. But from a checkmate standpoint, I found that one personally difficult. Anyway, that was the move. So yeah, knight to f7. Okay. But here we played knight to d5, which also leads to mate. It's just a little bit slower. Queen g4, knight f7, king c6, knight takes c8. Very good. Queen to e2 check. Yeah, I did find this one correctly according to Stockfish. Perfect. Yep, and that's it. Okay. All right, great, guys. That's the 3 1000 rated bots. I'll see you next time as we keep moving up the intermediate bots. Stay sharp. Play smart. Take care.